Have you ever wondered what lies beyond the veil of ordinary perception? What ancient wisdom might be revealed if you could glimpse behind the curtain of consciousness? What parts of yourself remain undiscovered, waiting in the shadows of your mind for the right moment to emerge? Think about it. In our hyper-connected yet spiritually malnourished world, we've become strangers to the depths of our own consciousness. We navigate life with a fragmented awareness, disconnected from the rich tapestry of experience that lies just beyond our everyday perception. We've been conditioned to value only what can be measured, quantified, and immediately understood, leaving the mysterious realms of consciousness unexplored. This spiritual amnesia keeps us trapped in patterns of thinking and being that no longer serve us, blind to the transformative potential that resides within. But what if there was a map to navigate these uncharted territories? A guide that could help you traverse the landscapes of expanded consciousness with grace and purpose. The journey through psychedelic experience offers precisely this opportunity, a chance to dissolve the boundaries of your conditioned self and reconnect with forgotten dimensions of being. By understanding the 5 distinct stages of psychedelic experience, you'll gain not just insight, but a practical framework for transformation that can be applied whether you're working with sacred medicines or simply seeking to deepen your relationship with consciousness itself. In this journey, we will explore the first stage, the anticipatory threshold, where everyday reality begins to soften its grip. This initial phase marks the boundary between ordinary consciousness and what lies beyond, a liminal space where expectation and reality dance together in delicate balance. As your sensory experience begins to shift, colors may appear more vibrant, sounds more textured, and thoughts more fluid than before. This is the gentle invitation from beyond, the soft whisper that something profound is approaching. The anticipatory threshold teaches us about the power of intention and surrender. Your mind, accustomed to maintaining strict control, now faces a fundamental choice: resist the emerging experience or allow it to unfold naturally. This threshold reveals how tightly we cling to our familiar reality constructs, our need for solid ground beneath our conceptual feet. Notice how your thoughts might race to categorize and understand these new sensations. Observe the subtle anxiety that may arise as everyday perception begins to transform. Think of this threshold as standing at the shore of a vast ocean at dawn. The familiar beach beneath your feet represents your ordinary consciousness, while the ocean, vast, mysterious, and powerful, embodies the expanded awareness that awaits. The gentle waves lapping at your toes are the first sensations of altered perception, inviting you deeper. Some part of you knows that to truly experience the ocean, you must eventually leave the shore behind. Take a moment now to close your eyes and bring awareness to your breath. Feel the natural rhythm of inhalation and exhalation. With each breath, imagine the boundaries of your perception softening ever so slightly. Don't force anything. Simply notice the spaces between your thoughts growing wider. When a thought arises, label it gently: planning, worrying, remembering. Then return to the breath. This simple practice mirrors the essential skill of the anticipatory threshold, witnessing consciousness without attachment. Now let's move beyond the threshold into the second stage, dissolution, where the familiar structures of self and reality begin to deconstruct. This phase often brings both wonder and challenge, as the carefully maintained edifice of identity temporarily releases its hold. The solid boundaries that separate you from not you become increasingly permeable. Thoughts, emotions, and sensations that once seemed distinctly yours may now appear as passing phenomena in a wider field of awareness. Dissolution teaches us perhaps the most profound lesson of the psychedelic experience. You are not your thoughts. As mental constructs dissolve, you may experience moments of witnessing consciousness, observing your own mental processes from a perspective beyond the thinking mind. This revelation can be both liberating and disorienting. The stories you've told about yourself, the identities you've carefully constructed, the wounds you've protected, all may reveal themselves as temporary conditions rather than fundamental truths. Imagine dissolution as a snow globe that has been vigorously shaken. The flakes of snow represent the elements of your identity, beliefs, memories, desires, fears, now suspended and swirling in the liquid of pure awareness. In ordinary consciousness, these elements appear fixed and solid, creating the illusion of a static self. But now you see them for what they truly are: fluid, impermanent patterns in constant motion. During this stage, practice releasing your grip on familiar reference points. When you notice yourself trying to make sense of the experience through old frameworks, silently repeat this mantra: I am not the contents of my consciousness. I am the space in which they appear. Feel the spaciousness that opens when you momentarily step back from identification with thoughts and emotions. Notice how freedom exists, not in controlling your experience, but in releasing the need for control altogether. Next, we enter the third stage, revelation, where the dissolution of ordinary boundaries creates space for profound insight and meaning to emerge. Having moved beyond the constraints of everyday perception, you now access dimensions of understanding that transcend logical thought. This is the stage where synchronicities multiply, where seemingly separate aspects of experience reveal their hidden connections, and where intuitive knowing often supersedes rational analysis. The revelatory stage teaches us about the layered nature of reality and consciousness. Like lifting veils one after another, each revelation may lead to deeper insights beyond. You might perceive the intricate patterns that connect all living beings, glimpse the larger cosmic forces at play in your personal journey, or receive insights about your life purpose that feel simultaneously novel and deeply familiar, as if you're remembering rather than discovering them for the first time. Think of this stage as suddenly gaining the ability to perceive ultraviolet light after a lifetime of conventional vision. Patterns and relationships that were always present but previously invisible now reveal themselves with startling clarity. The flower that appeared simply beautiful before now displays intricate guidance systems for pollinators. The forest that seemed like a collection of separate trees now reveals itself as a single, interconnected organism pulsing with shared life force. To work with the energy of revelation, practice suspending judgment about what arises in your awareness. When an insight emerges, neither cling to it as absolute truth, nor dismiss it as meaningless fantasy. Instead, hold it gently in your awareness with an attitude of curious investigation. Ask yourself, what if this were true? What would it mean for how I live? Record your insights, perhaps through mental note-taking, or by setting an intention to remember. The mantra for this stage is, I am open to receive wisdom beyond my current understanding. As revelations multiply and deepen, we transition to the fourth stage, integration, where expanded awareness begins to coalesce into new patterns of meaning and coherence. This phase represents a delicate balance, maintaining connection with the insights and expanded perspectives of peak experience while beginning to re-establish a sense of centered presence. Integration is where the formless potentiality of dissolution begins to take new form, informed by the revelations you've received. The integration stage teaches us how consciousness creates reality through the patterns of meaning we assign to experience. Having witnessed the deconstruction of your previous meaning structures, you now participate more consciously in their reconstruction. This isn't about returning to exactly who you were before, but rather about incorporating your expanded awareness into a more spacious sense of identity and purpose. Imagine integration as the process of a caterpillar within its chrysalis. Having dissolved into primordial cellular soup, the creature now reforms into something entirely new, not by conscious effort, but through surrendering to an innate intelligence that orchestrates transformation. Similarly, your expanded consciousness now begins to reorganize, guided by the deeper wisdom you've accessed beyond the everyday mind. During integration, practice witnessing without forcing. Notice how certain insights naturally rise to prominence while others recede. Pay special attention to the ones that carry an embodied resonance, those that register not just as interesting ideas, but as felt truth in your physical being. These embodied insights often represent the most valuable gifts of your journey. The mantra for integration is, I allow my experience to reshape me according to its highest wisdom. Finally, we arrive at the fifth stage, return, where the expanded consciousness of the psychedelic experience gradually transitions back toward ordinary awareness, forever changed by the journey. This stage represents not an endpoint, but a spiral, returning to similar territory, but at a different level of understanding. The everyday world may appear unchanged to external observers, but through your transformed perception, it reveals new depths and possibilities. The return stage teaches us about the cyclical nature of transformation. Every ending contains the seeds of a new beginning. Every return sets the stage for the next departure. The boundaries between ordinary and non-ordinary consciousness, once thought impermeable, now reveal themselves as more fluid and accessible than you previously believed. What was once an extraordinary state gradually becomes integrated into an expanded baseline of awareness. Think of return as a river that has journeyed from its mountain source through various landscapes before rejoining the ocean. Though it appears to end as it merges with the vastness, its waters will eventually rise again as vapor, form clouds, and return to the mountains as rain, forever participating in the great cycle of transformation. Your consciousness follows similar patterns, moving between states of expansion and contraction, dissolution and reformation. To honor this stage, practice bringing mindful awareness to ordinary experiences. Notice how everyday activities, preparing a meal, conversing with a friend, watching clouds drift across the sky, now reveal subtle dimensions previously overlooked. Pay attention to how insights from your journey continue to unfold in daily life, sometimes in unexpected ways. The mantra for return is, I carry expanded awareness into every moment of ordinary life. Throughout these 5 stages, anticipatory threshold, dissolution, revelation, integration, and return, one truth remains constant. Consciousness is not something you have, but something you are. The transformative potential of psychedelic experience lies not in temporary escape from reality, but in the profound recognition that reality itself is far more expansive, mysterious, and interconnected than our everyday perception suggests. Each journey through these stages peels back another layer of conditioning, revealing the luminous awareness that has been present all along. I am not the contents of my consciousness. I am the space in which they appear. This truth becomes increasingly self-evident as you move through the stages. The thoughts, emotions, sensations, and perceptions that once seemed to define you now reveal themselves as passing phenomena within a field of awareness that remains unchanged. This recognition doesn't diminish your humanity, but enriches it, allowing you to participate more fully in the dance of life, precisely because you're no longer confined by limited self-definitions. I am open to receive wisdom beyond my current understanding. This mantra reminds us that growth requires humility, the willingness to acknowledge that our current perspective, no matter how sophisticated, represents just one vantage point among infinite possibilities. The psychedelic journey consistently reveals how much lies beyond the boundaries of our conditioned knowledge, inviting an attitude of perpetual openness and discovery rather than rigid certainty. I carry expanded awareness into every moment of ordinary life. Perhaps the most powerful potential of working with psychedelic consciousness is the gradual transformation of everyday experience. The boundary between special states and ordinary awareness becomes increasingly permeable as insights from expanded consciousness infuse your daily perception. Eventually, the extraordinary becomes ordinary, not through diminishment, but through the recognition that wonder and mystery infuse every aspect of existence when perceived through awakened eyes. These 5 stages offer more than just a map for navigating psychedelic experiences. They reveal fundamental patterns in the transformation of consciousness itself. Whether induced through plant medicines, meditation practices, breathwork, or life's spontaneous awakenings, similar territories emerge. The value lies not in the temporary alteration of perception, but in the lasting wisdom that remains when ordinary awareness returns, enriched and expanded by the journey. Think about the aspects of your life currently constrained by limited perception. Perhaps relationships have grown stale through habitual patterns of interaction. Maybe your creative expression feels blocked by internal criticism and doubt, or your sense of purpose may have become clouded by society's expectations rather than soul-aligned truth. Each stage of the psychedelic journey offers specific medicine for these modern ailments, dissolving calcified patterns, revealing fresh possibilities, and supporting integration of new awareness into tangible change. The anticipatory threshold teaches discernment between anxiety and excitement, recognizing how these seemingly opposite emotions often represent the same energy perceived through different frameworks. By reframing anxiety as the natural response to approaching transformation, you develop greater capacity to remain present with discomfort rather than retreating to the familiar. This skill serves not just the psychedelic journey, but every meaningful growth experience in life. Dissolution offers the profound relief of temporary liberation from the exhausting maintenance of self-image. Consider how much energy you expend daily, defending certain identities while rejecting others, constantly adjusting your presentation to meet real or imagined expectations. As dissolution reveals the constructed nature of identity, you gain freedom to engage with life more authentically less concerned with maintaining rigid self-definitions, and more available to respond spontaneously from presence. Revelation reconnects you with the deep knowing that precedes and transcends intellectual understanding. In a culture that privileges rational thought above all other ways of knowing, we've become disconnected from our intuitive wisdom, the body's signals, the heart's guidance, the soul's subtle promptings. The revelatory stage reactivates these essential channels of information, expanding your perception beyond the limitations of logic to include embodied, emotional, and spiritual intelligence. Integration teaches sustainable transformation through patient embodiment rather than forceful implementation. Unlike the quick-fix mentality of modern culture, genuine change unfolds through consistent alignment of attention, intention, and action over time. As you practice integration skills, gentle self-observation, compassionate acceptance of non-linear progress, celebration of subtle shifts, you develop capacity for lasting transformation in all areas of life. Return brings the gift of renewed perception, seeing familiar landscapes through transformed eyes. The mundane world reveals its inherent sacredness, not because it has changed, but because you perceive it differently. Ordinary objects, interactions, and experiences now vibrate with significance previously overlooked. This renewed perception naturally evokes gratitude, presence, and reverence, qualities that enhance well-being regardless of external circumstances. Close your eyes now and bring your awareness fully into this moment. Feel the physical sensations of your body, the weight, temperature, subtle movements of breath. Notice the space of consciousness in which all experiences arise. Without trying to change anything, simply witness whatever appears, thoughts, emotions, sensations, allowing each to come and go like clouds in the vast sky of awareness. As you rest in this witnessing presence, silently repeat these words: I am not separate from the mystery unfolding through me. Feel how this truth resonates beyond intellectual understanding, touching something essential at your core. Allow whatever response arises, whether emotional release, physical sensation, mental insight, or intuitive knowing, to move through you without obstruction. Now gradually expanding your awareness to include the environment around you. Consider how you might carry one element from these 5 stages into your daily experience. Perhaps it's the surrendered openness of the threshold, the freedom from identification of dissolution, the receptivity to deeper wisdom from revelation, the patient embodiment of integration, or the renewed perception of return. Choose whichever quality feels most aligned with your current life circumstances. Set a clear intention to embody this quality today, remaining aware that transformation occurs not through force, but through consistent, compassionate attention. You need not dramatically alter your external circumstances to begin this journey. Simply bringing fresh awareness to familiar patterns creates space for new possibilities to emerge. The psychedelic journey, in its essence, reveals what mystics across traditions have always taught. The extraordinary hides within the ordinary, awaiting your recognition. As you complete this exploration of the 5 stages of psychedelic experience, remember that the map is never the territory. These stages offer useful reference points, but cannot capture the ineffable mystery of consciousness itself. Each journey unfolds uniquely according to individual needs, intentions, and readiness. Trust your direct experience above any conceptual framework, including this one. The journey of consciousness isn't linear but spiral, continuously returning to similar territories with deepened understanding. Each passage through these 5 stages both resolves certain questions and reveals new ones, expanding your capacity for mystery rather than collapsing it into certainty. This is perhaps the greatest gift of the psychedelic journey, not answers, but an ever-deepening relationship with the questions themselves. Carry forward the courage to remain open in the face of the unknown, the willingness to surrender cherished certainties for deeper truth, and the commitment to embody your discoveries through consistent, compassionate action. The ultimate purpose of exploring consciousness is not escape from ordinary life, but full, awakened participation in it, bringing the gifts of expanded awareness to every relationship, creative endeavor, and meaningful contribution. You stand now at the intersection of ancient wisdom and modern discovery, where timeless knowledge of consciousness meets contemporary understanding of the brain and mind. This convergence offers unprecedented opportunity for conscious evolution, not just personal transformation, but participation in the wider awakening of human consciousness during this pivotal moment in our collective journey. Remember, I am not the contents of my consciousness. I am the space in which they appear. I am open to receive wisdom beyond my current understanding. I carry expanded awareness into every moment of ordinary life. These truths, when lived, rather than merely contemplated, become powerful catalysts for transformation, illuminating not just the extraordinary territories of psychedelic experience, but the miraculous ordinary world that awaits your awakened perception. The journey never truly ends. It only deepens. Each threshold crossed reveals new horizons. Each dissolution creates space for fresh emergence. Each revelation seeds future discoveries. Each integration builds capacity for greater wholeness. And each return enriches the foundation for the next departure. You are both the explorer and the territory being explored, consciousness awakening to itself through the unique instrument of your being. May your journey through the 5 stages bring increasing freedom, wisdom, compassion, and joy, not as distant goals to achieve, but as the natural expression of your essential nature, gradually unveiled through the courageous exploration of consciousness in all its dimensions.